All right, no pretakes. Let's do this. This is a response to Christopher Titus in regards to his debate with Steven Crowder. I know, I'm just some guy you never fucking met before. Doesn't matter. I'm going to put this up here just because, hey, maybe you'll watch it and you won't. Still educate some people. It really frustrated me, the level to which you... the disingenuousness. And by the way, how do I put this? 32,000 dead Americans a year is the main argument that Christopher put forward for as to why he wants to modify the Second Amendment and introduce universal gun registration. The implication, of course, being, I care and you don't. That's basically it. If you don't agree with me, you don't care. And it's a bullshit. It's a bullshit argument for two reasons. One, false moral high ground, and two, he's lying about why he cares. I hate to put it that way, but let's be honest, Chris. You did not like have no opinion on the matter, and then look up the FBI statistics and go, "Oh my God, it's 32,000 people. I didn't care before, but now I care because it passed the magic threshold, and now that it's gone over 31,000 to 32,000, now I care." Didn't happen. Didn't fucking happen. That's not how it happened. There's no magic threshold in your mind by which you say, oh, as long as the number is below here, I'm okay with this thing. And once it goes over this magic number, now I care and now it needs to be changed. That doesn't exist. That's not why you're for gun control. I don't know what your motivation is, but 32,000 people is not it. That's the one half. And the other half is saying that is standing on the bodies of 32,000 people and saying, you know, I really care about these people, and if you disagree with me, you don't care about 32,000 dead people. It's a bullshit thing to say. It's a false moral high ground. You don't get that high ground. Okay? Everybody in the debate, to some extent or another, cares about the fact that people die for whatever reason. Okay? And for Stephen to stand up and say, no, you know what? I disagree on the effects of what you propose, does not mean that he doesn't care. It doesn't. Saying, oh my God, this is reality and it needs to change, does not mean that you are more moral or a better person than anybody else. All right? And finito. So I want to take a moment to address the other part of the debate, which was the main suggestion given by Chris, which was the introduction of universal gun registration being put as an amendment, through the fifth article to amend the Second Amendment. And I find myself agreeing with Stephen that would do absolutely nothing. The reason why is because most guns used to commit crimes are not legally obtained. It's like 60% or something like that are stolen. A large number out of that are gotten through the black market. Only a small percentage of guns that are used in crimes are where someone goes to a gun store, buys a gun, and uses it to commit a crime. So this proposed thing would do nothing. And the other half of the problem is that most of the deaths would be completely, it's 32,000 deaths. 20-some thousand of them are suicides, which maybe some of the people would not commit suicide, but, when someone wants to kill himself, simply taking away one tool is not necessarily going to stop them. And by the way, suicide sucks. Suicide sucks. As a libertarian, even though I uphold the idea that people should be legally able to kill themselves, I also am the type of person who, if you're a friend of mine or you're someone that I'm anywhere close and I find out that you're going to try to kill yourself, I will personally intervene to stop that. But, that's 20,000 of deaths, so that leaves 12,000. Of those, many thousand of them are from gang fights. Guess what? If you take away guns from gangs, ignoring the fact that many of them are, again, obtained illegally, if you take away the guns, you think they're going to go, oh man, I'm a blood and now I don't have a gun. I don't have my gat. I guess I got to go hug those Crips over there, man. Yeah, that's what's going to... No, they're fucking they're going to use other tools. The same way The same way gangs use other tools when they didn't have guns in the past. So that leaves a tiny minority of the 32,000. I think it's like something like 5,000 or 6,000. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I'm just spinning this right now. Only a tiny fraction of the 32,000 would actually be affected by this thing. And some asshole's gonna be out there going, well, if even one person gets saved, no, fuck off. Fuck off. If the standard for removing rights or modifying rights was if only one person could be saved, if only 10 people could be saved, then we would have no fucking rights. Everybody would stay at home, suck their thumbs, and never get out of bed. Everybody. Going outside has inherent risk. Driving a car has inherent risk. Smoking tobacco has an inherent risk. You know what? Smoking tobacco causes more deaths in total than suicides by gun. So what? It does. But the only difference is that one method is much slower than the other. One method is much more torturous than the other. That's the only difference. But Chris, you're not sitting there going, oh man, we need to ban cigarettes since that causes so much damage as well. You're not. You're not against cars, even though that causes more deaths. So the whole idea of there are these many number of people and therefore we need to change this right, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Now, that being said, I would love to find out what your actual reason for wanting to modify the Second Amendment was, because you know what, that could be an interesting conversation, and it really is a shame that you and Steven ended up just talking past one another the whole time, and I sat there watching, and it really was sucky to watch because both you guys were just going right past each other, and there was no generosity. That's not the word, but you know, you just kept assuming things of one another, and that's not how you have a conversation. And it really sucks because, you know, there was stick on both shoulders. What the fuck ever. You know, it is what it is. So to recap, because I don't know where I'm going from here, so we'll just cap it and then cap it. Fuck. One, you do not get a moral high ground from saying 32,000 people, 32,000 people, 32,000, because you're being fucking disingenuous. 100%. That's not the reason why you decided that you wanted to change the laws. That's not a reason to change the laws. Both logically and emotionally. Like, no, that's not a fucking reason. Oh, you know what? There's one more thing I will mention. All right, before we cap this off, because the other half of it is the original point of the Second Amendment was to protect, you know, give the citizens protection against tyranny. Right, and of course, you know, Chris, you said, you know, how is that? That's laughable today because, you know, that would never happen. Yeah, it might be laughable right now in this moment. Sure, what? You know, I'm not going to disagree with that. But the thing is right now only exists for a moment, right? If you go in the past, you will actually and look at state laws. You will actually find laws in various states, and I know Kansas was one of them, legally requiring men to come to church armed. Like if you were going to go to church, you know, you're legally required to go to church, and you must carry with you your musket. You must carry with you your gun. And now we've gone to a place, you know, this was less than 200 years ago. This is like, I think 150, somewhere in that ballpark. Years ago, that this was a requirement. Like, if you did not bring your gun to church, you would get in legal trouble. You would be fined. You would be in, you know, like you would have to deal with the law. And now we're in a place where there are many states where you have to ask permission from the government in order to have a pistol, right? If you want to carry conceal in New York, especially New York City, you have to prove that you are in reasonable fear for your life, I believe. Same thing for California. So that's the huge, you know, in just 150 years. Well, yeah, maybe today we won't need that. Fine. I will happily concede that point. I'm glad that today I do not have a reasonable fear of the government busting down my door and saying, give me all your gas. But it doesn't mean that's not going to be the case in 50 years. That doesn't mean it's not going to be the case in 100 years. And the thing is that as culture changes, you know, when we get to the point where that becomes a reasonable fear that the government may come and try to take your guns, it is already too late to do something about it. It is already too late to go, you know what? Now that the government actually might take away my guns, now I think I'm gonna actually start caring about the Second Amendment. now I'm going to care. Now that I actually have to worry about someone busting down my door and taking all my guns and killing me in the process. The point in holding on to the Second Amendment now is that once you lose a liberty, it is very hard to get it back. We know this because the Constitution has only been changed a handful of times. And we also know that the Supreme Court happens to be extremely liberal in how it likes to interpret the Constitution. Which means that in the future, I would be willing to bet, and I mean, obviously, once we get into the future, we're spectating out of our asses. But I would not be surprised to find that in the future, the Supreme Court is not going to turn around and say, you know what, this whole time that we've been legislating in favor of the government, we're going to turn around now and just start rooting for the citizen, this time when possibly, we have a future where the government does want to take all your guns. So saying, oh yeah, right now you don't need it, therefore you don't need the right. Yeah, right now we don't need it. That doesn't mean we will never need it. The past has already proved that there were times when we did need it, and therefore there might be exist in the future a time that the same is also true. And I would love to hear a real response, a real argument besides, standing on the heads of dead people. Because, believe it or not, it's a pretty shitty thing to do, man. Pretty fucking shitty. I mean, I'm better than you because I care about the 32,000 people and you don't because you disagree with me. So there, yeah, hear me roar, yeah. Now, am I being mocking? Yeah. Is what I'm saying true? Fucking right it is. And of course now I'm just blowing hot air up my ass. Anyways, don't expect to respond. If you watch this through, cool. And by the way, you seem like a very intelligent person, Chris. And I don't say that like fucking lightly. Because as much as I watched you and Steven quarrel back and forth and kind of go past each other, there definitely seemed to be a very strong intelligence where you were actually, reacting in the moment. And by the way, as far as I understand, you're a comic. I don't know everything else that you do, but after spending way too many times watching YouTube videos of comics, dealing with stuff, I've come to very much appreciate the ability of a comedian, especially one who is able to sit there and trade back blows with another person on philosophical and ideological levels. It takes a lot of guts to do that, in my opinion. Anyways, I hope you take some of that stuff to heart and think about it strongly. And if you want to respond, I will totally listen to everything you have to say. You have a good one, and everyone else who watched, hope you learned something. Or if you think I'm totally fucking wrong, let me know. I mean, I probably won't agree with you, but whatever.